This week's podcast is kindly sponsored by Who Knows Wins. This is a new social sports game where mates, family and colleagues pit their wits for real money. Use the free app to play directly against your pals in your own custom league, or join the thriving community of players in one of our existing competitions like this week's Pick 10 League with a guaranteed £6,000 prize fund. Keep on top of the action with live updates and bask in the glory with live chat. You don't need to get all the predictions right. You just need to get more than anyone else. Guaranteed winners every day. Download the app now from the link below in the description. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Edition, don't know. Number, I don't know. Lost count. Like I say every week, lost count. I think it's 203. I think 204. It could be 204, which means we've missed the 200th show. We should have done something for that, shouldn't we? But never mind. We'll do something for the 300th. Good evening to you all in the chat box. Thanks for coming along and joining us. Very, very kind of you. If you'd like to get involved in Who Knows Wins, link is down below in the description. It's a free game to play. It's Harry, you play that, don't you?
No, I don't. I played one similar though. Last season, which was really good. So I know the concept, and it's really good.
I think it's quite good. I've had a look at it. You can Lee plays it, don't you, Lee?
I won £2 this week, but it's hard. You know what I mean? You cannot. I think I've got it all made this time. You know what I mean? And there's always one that lets you down. At least one, and it's like one. You know, when you look at it, and you think, well, that's a certainty. I.e., Spurs against Man City, that's a certainty. You know what I mean? City are going to win that. It don't happen. This week's one was, I think,
got to be Man United, Watford.
Yeah, Man United, Watford. You think, that ain't going to happen. And also, I'm looking at it. Brighton. I think, they must get something. And then, they lose at home. Who they lose at home to this year?
Burnley last week, wasn't
it? Burnley, and you think all of a sudden you're 2 down, and you think you're scratching your head, and it's a really difficult game to play. You know what I mean? It looks easy on paper, but it's not. But I should
backtrack. Actually, I should backtrack because it's not free to play. It's that you put in as much as you want, so you can put a pound in if you want.
I think it's a fiver for the top 10 thing.
A fiver for the top, a fiver to play the top 6, I think.
Yeah, top 10
or something like that. But you can create your own little leagues. You can all put a pound in. If there's 10 of you there, you can all put a pound in, and the winner takes a tenner. So look, bit of fun.
That's £6-7 grand prize money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pot, you know what I mean? Imagine you got all of them up. You get yourself £7 grand. Oh
yeah, be nice, wouldn't it?
I'll have a Monday off.
Links in the description below if you want to go and have a look at that. Lads, another good win at the Emirates on Thursday evening versus Wolves. A brilliant ending to a great game of football, I thought. I really, really enjoyed the game. I'll start off by getting your thoughts, judges. You were all there, I take it. So, Lee, let me know, tell us about the atmosphere, because, me sitting here on my armchair in Ireland, the atmosphere seemed absolutely amazing.
Off the chart at the end there. It was actually off the chart when it went to 1-1. And I'm going to say this, a few people were around me going, a point's good enough. I weren't so convinced. I thought we needed all 3. But to be honest, I would have took a point at that stage, because I think that Wolves are a real tough nut to crack. I actually watched them against West Ham yesterday, and even though I think West Ham did open up a few times, it was never like a shoo-in that West Ham was going to win that. So to get that goal in the last seconds as well, it was unbelievable. The actual place went mad. I've not been at the Emirates for a very, very long time when the whole of the players had gone off and everybody's still in the stadium. Majority of the fans are still in the stadium going mad. I hasn't been there for a very, very long while. And the atmosphere coming out of the stadium was fantastic. And I have to say, the fans were absolutely brilliant on the day. And I can tell you what, it was a cold night. I know, really, really cold. And no one cared. No one cared. Brilliant. I look back on the game, guys, afterwards, and do you know what? We played really well. I didn't think we did at the time. I was watching the game, and I said to Dan earlier on that you're emotionally in it. You don't think you actually play well, but when you look back on it, played some bloody good football. There were some good performances in that game. So all in all, 3-win. Look, we said. I think I said a few weeks ago, didn't I? We've got to win all 5 games, and we've got 3 now. Watford and Leicester to come. Come on, Arsenal, we can do it. And this is vital couple of games coming up now. With Man United playing some big games. Tottenham have got Man United in the next week or so. Got to keep on winning. Got to keep on winning.
Yeah, I could actually get used to it. This nice, the nice feeling of winning. It's really, really nice. Dan, you were there, mate. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, I think what impressed me the most, Craig, was that for the first time this season, our senior heads came to play. I thought all 3 of them were exceptional, if I'm honest with you. Lacazette really was leading that line so well. And I think that the work rate sometimes can't be denied. And although he tried to hit the corner flag with his shot at the end, it did go in. So that's all that matters. I thought he was sensational. I thought Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka were immense. I really did. And I thought that, I said to you boys, didn't I, in the WhatsApp group, I said, I can't stand the guy, but I thought he was outstanding, Granit Xhaka. I really did. I thought he was sensational. And Martin Ødegaard, I know he's not a senior head, but actually I thought he was driving us forward. And it's a player, Craig, that I've looked at and thought, you're such a nice footballer to watch, but what do you bring to the team? Do you bring goals? Do you bring assists? And then we started to see that. And although it's dried up of late, I really do like him. I really do love the way he drives forward. And I think that I'm starting to... Something I hate doing is agreeing with Harry Symeou, but I'm starting to agree with him now with what he's saying in relation to his leadership on the pitch, because he's not really a vocal shouting, barking orders, pointing and stuff like that. But one thing I did love from Martin Ødegaard was when that Semedo was down, he literally ran right over to him, picked him up, trying to lift him off, and I thought, I like that. That's quality. So I was really impressed with some of the senior heads and Martin Ødegaard. And like Lee says, the crowd, there's definitely, whether you love the process, hate the Cronkies, love Arteta or hate him, there's definitely no doubting that the team are playing for the manager. And let's be honest, the connect between the fans and the players is there now, Craig, and it's a joy to see. It really is.
Yeah, that's massive. The connect between the players and the fans. It's great to see it. It's great to see it coming back. That's the Emirates on Thursday night was what I want it to be every week. It was amazing. Sitting home here, watching it on the telly obviously doesn't do it any justice, but I could hear it. The difference is amazing, and as long as we can keep winning, it doesn't matter about winning. I think performing. I think we keep performing like that. The never say die. Because years gone by, we'd have gone 1-0 down there, and we would have lost 2 or 3-0. But the way they kept going, the way they kept they stuck to the game plan. They didn't panic. And we got our, we got our reward. Harry, welcome back, mate. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's a pleasure to have you back. You were there as well, mate. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it in the end. I've got to say, as Judge said that, we didn't really want a point, that a point wasn't enough. But like Judge, I was at the point when we equalised where I thought we're not even going to equalise. So I wasn't going mad when we equalised, but it was half relief. Celebration, half relief, because it felt like losing that game would have been a big blow, and particularly given what happened with Spurs the night before, it was a real big opportunity. But that connection that you've all mentioned between the players and the fans, that's so important. And Arteta's been talking about that for a while. He keeps using the term transmit energy from the crowd to the players. But that's got to work both ways, and it is working both ways at the moment. The team are fighting, they're battling, they're working hard, and the fans are responding to that. I think for me, what really kind of encouraged me on Thursday, aside from all the kind of obvious points that everybody's made, was I sit in the North Bank lower, sort of just to the right of the goal, a block over from Dan, basically. And as soon as the goal went in, the Wolves goal that is, I was looking around and I was trying to kind of see how the Arsenal players were responding. And I literally came home and said it on a podcast, as soon as I got in from the game. The biggest moment for me on Thursday night was when that goal went in. You didn't see players sulking. You didn't see people throwing their arms up. You didn't see people looking at each other blankly, trying to work out whose fault it was, whose mistake it was. You saw Aaron Ramsdale go straight out of his goal and put his arm around Gabriel, give him a pat on the back. A few other players came over and did it as well, which says to me that these lot are all in it together.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the shortcomings of the squad. We can say that we're short in certain positions, but in trimming it down, he's got a group of invested players. Everybody feels they've got a part. Even Nketiah came on and played a part. Pepe, look at the difference in Pepe now. Everybody feels like they're part of this. And, to be a top team, you need to have that right environment, the right culture. We always use that term. And Mikel Arteta might not have been the greatest player in the world, and he might not have much managerial experience, but he's been around the guy that does that best. And he's clearly taken things from Pep Guardiola with regards to the mentality side of things. And to a degree, some of the tactical side with the whole 2 number 8s and sort of squeezing them further up the pitch, pushing the centre-backs right up to the halfway line, using Partey in the Rodri/Fernandinho role, if you like. He's taken a lot of those lessons, and now we're starting to see them being applied to this team. It's not perfect. We're still going to drop points between now and the end of the season. But nobody can tell me that we're not at least moving in the right direction. And that, for me, at this stage is good enough.
Absolutely. Leah player we talked about last week was Pepe. We sat here and said perhaps he should start over Martinelli. Just my opinion, I was a little bit disappointed with Martinelli against Wolves, I have to say. I thought that he just didn't look himself. He didn't look that threatening when he got the ball. He looks a bit lost at the moment. And the substitution with Pepe, it worked straight away because kind of, Saka and Pepe swap places. But Martinelli, is he being overplayed? Do you think he's tired? I mean, people laugh when you say a professional footballer is tired, but I do think he's overplaying him a little bit.
I don't think that. I think one thing that was his first time he's played for 2 weeks. So sometimes you need those sort of games, and I think maybe like he's had too longer out, And I think that sometimes goes against you a little bit. Like when you're not, if say for instance with this one game a week, if you do miss a game, it's 2 weeks before your next game and all that, So I don't know. I didn't think he had a great game. I'm going to say that it was down to Wolves and the way they defended. I think that. Saka weren't at his best for this game, and to be honest, it was as Dan's already said, it was like Lacazette, a bit more experienced players that come through it, good decision by the manager. I felt that he kept faith with Lacazette, took Martinelli off. Listen, Martinelli is not going to play well every game, and nor is Saka, and I think that this is where players have to step in, and Pepe did it. I thought he had a fantastic little cameo against Brentford when he came on. That's what we spoke about. I don't think I say that he's done enough to get into the team. I think he has done enough to get into the team. But in my opinion, I think that Martinelli, is entitled to one poor game, if I'll be honest. And same as Saka. I think that even though they weren't at their best, they still weren't poor. It was still a little bit lively. And also, I think that his running and his energy and all that, all of a sudden when Pepe comes on and Eddie comes on, these defenders are slightly tired, Craig. You know what I mean? He tires them out. He's relentless with his running and everything, coming inside and all that, But I'm going to say I felt that Wolves defended excellently against us. They really did, and made it very, very difficult. And as Harry alluded to, I didn't think we was going to score neither. I actually looking at the game thinking, well, that's it. We're going to lose this 1-0. If you'd have said to me a minute before we scored, we're going to come back and win this 2-1, I'd have said, well, you're in fantasy land. You know what I mean? And that's why I think everybody went mad at the end, because it was, West Ham played really well yesterday. Could only get 1 goal against them, Craig. They're a hard team to break down. So I don't think we should look too much into those performances. I think that Martinelli will come good again. But listen, Pepe's putting pressure on, which looks really, really good for the other guys, and as Harry said, Eddie coming on. If you're not going to play well at this moment in time, you might not be getting in the side. Been really interested in what would have happened if Smith Rowe was fit for this game. Well, what decision would have been made? You know what I mean? Because that would have been really an intriguing one. So I don't know how Mikel probably, I've always said he's a lucky manager, and probably at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he does, but when one of them's injured or not well, like, I haven't got to make that decision now. I think, you'd like obviously to have him on the bench, but there is that goes in their mind. I'm pretty sure that was a difficult decision he had to make, which he didn't have to. So for me, Martinelli deserves to, he's entitled to have one off day, but I'm still saying that's down to Wolves.
Dan, the player we mentioned, Pepe, what a goal. What an absolutely beautiful, lovely bit of skill and great composure with the finish as well. Knocking on the door, Dan, isn't he? Knocking on the door.
Yeah, I'm so happy for this kid, man. I'm a big fan, and I think that the numbers don't lie. I think he gets a lot of harsh criticism from some fans, and I think sometimes they get frustrated with him, and he can come across as a little bit lackluster or clumsy or lazy in parts. But you didn't see that performance the other night. When he came on, it looked like he really wanted it. And I don't think there's anybody in the team, I say this now, you may disagree, may agree. I don't think there's anybody in this Arsenal side that could have scored the goal that Pepe did. If that would have fallen to any of the other players, I think it would have been a miss. Very, very difficult. You take for granted that that's a piece of skill. And also vital for the winner, Craig, as well. So that he, for me, was man of the match. A lot of people were saying there was quite a few options for man of the match because we played quite well in certain positions. But for me, Pepe came on and completely changed the game. And I think with Saka and Martinelli, I put their performance down to how good Wolves were as opposed to how poor Martinelli and Saka were. I think they actually prevented some of the wide men from playing. And I think that Pepe came on and almost shocked them. We looked a little bit silkier, a little bit smoother. Even when he came on against Brentford the other week, I think that he played really well. But then that was just a tremendous performance. And I've got to say this, it's not somebody that I love at the club, but I thought Eddie come on and did really, really well.
Yep.
I really did. And, I'm not saying he needs to stay now and all that and getting carried away. I still think we need to get rid of this guy. But I actually do think he did really, really well. But Pepe, for me, I just think doesn't get the credit that's deserved. And I hope now we start to see more from Nicolas Pepe, because I think, Craig, he's probably our most threatening substitute from the bench. And especially when we saw Smith Rowe was out with sickness and Tomiyasu likewise, it was a little bit like, Christ, our bench. I mean, we had Swanson on the bench and everyone's asking who this lad is. And we are really down to bare bones. So when you look at that, you think Pepe's got to come on, but who next? And luckily, it wasn't the situation where Pepe's come on and he hasn't done it. Who else is there? Because Pepe came on and he delivered. And I just really like this player. And what I loved the most actually about this game more than anything was not just the Pepe sub, but the fact that he didn't go like for like. Because when Pepe came on and he brought off Martinelli, I thought, here we go, like for like substitution. What's he going to do that's going to change it up? Then he takes Cedric off and he brings Eddie and Nketiah on, and then we go for it. And that was what I loved the most about Mikel Arteta's substitution, was the fact that he changed it up and went for something different. Because we complained, haven't we, so many times where Arsene Wenger would sometimes put 4 players on, 4 strikers on at times to try and win the game. And I think that when you look at what Eddie's done when he's come on for Cedric, that is completely changing it up. And it worked wonders. And I think the players, the managers, and the fans have to take a lot of credit for that win, because I thought the fans were exceptional. I agree with what Harry said. And the players, we went a goal down. If the players didn't, they got up and they didn't get their heads down. But if I'm honest with you, I think Lee agreed and said the other night, neither did the fans. The fans didn't sit there and go, oh, that's it. We've lost this game. Ain't going to score now. This is going to be another 3 points. We tried to get behind the team and we believed, and the atmosphere was exceptional. And one shout on Gabriel. I love this player, by the way. I think he's an exceptional defender. I don't think Ben White's half as good without Gabriel next to him. I really think that Gabriel is our best defender. I thought he was terrible for the first half hour, Gabriel. I really did. I thought, oh dear, what is he doing here? But it's how you come back from those mistakes. And I thought he had a fantastic second half. I really, really did. So I think we need to big up Gabriel for that second half performance, because his head could have gone down. He could have had a shambles of a game, but he picked it up. And we picked up 3 points, and Craig, 6 points from Wolves home and away. I never thought
nice.
That. Fantastic.
That's not to be sniffed at, is it? Harry, Dan mentions there that Gabriel came out in the second half, put the first half behind him and had a very good game. Now, I said after the game on Thursday that if anyone believes that any of these players are not playing for the manager, then you're in cloud cuckoo land. Over the last few performances, the going's got tough and they've responded. And I'm sorry, but there is no way a team plays like that if they're not on side with the manager.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Mikel Arteta has made moves to get everybody that isn't on his side though out the door, and you know that's kind of the way to do it. If you're a football club that places immense faith in one man to manage and lead everything, the way that Arsenal have placed that faith in Mikel Arteta, then you've got to give him that freedom to do what he thinks is right. Like we've all sat here and said, you know, about him moving Aubameyang on and how that might cost us. The spirit in that team with Aubameyang leading the line is not the same as it is with Lacazette. Yes, Aubameyang scoring goals in Barcelona, but he weren't doing it for us. So let's not pretend that that same form he's showing over in Spain was what we were getting out of him and we chose to push him out the door. There's got to be, you know, I talked about it earlier. We talked about culture, mentality. That comes first. If you're a manager trying to turn a football club around, that comes first. And yeah, talent is important, but sometimes you shouldn't give in to talent at the consequence of losing the core principles of what you're trying to do. And that's what Mikel Arteta has been working really hard on doing. And, you know, he's brought some players in and, you know, we've kind of sort of understood over the last few months that they've been very particular in terms of the characters that they're bringing in as well as their footballing ability. And you can see that there is a plan. But you're absolutely right, Craig. They're all behind him. They're all supporting him. They're all trusting of him as well. And that's really, really important because I think when you're a manager and, you know, you've had a bit of time at a club and the players are not feeling the progress, that's when it goes rotten. That's when people stand back and go, well, hold on a minute. You know, this ain't really moving forward, is it? But with each kind of month that we seem to get a little bit better and our league position is still respectable going into March, some of these players will be looking at that and going, well, we've trusted him, we've listened to him, and now we're in the race for the top four. So, you know, we can do it and it creates a belief. And I think that, you know, that's really important. And it's good to see everyone singing from the same hymn sheet for once.
Absolutely. Lee, what would you say on that? You know, players are obviously, like Harry said, they're invested in the manager now. And he's got the players performing, which in turn brings the fans, you know, up to levels of support that, you know, we haven't seen for a long, long time at the Emirates. Things are good at the moment at Arsenal. Hello? You're on mute, mate. One sec.
Oh, sorry, schoolboy error.
These professionals.
No, sorry. Like, you know, this, you know, what Harry says there is correct. You know what I mean? Results, winning mentality does help. I don't care what anybody says. If you start winning games of football, straight away morale is boosted. But I've got a little theory on Aubameyang that maybe, like, you know, he's gone into him at some stage and felt that, you know, he'd been let down by the recruitment or whatever. I don't think he was entirely happy with what was going on. Like, you know, it's all right to say to Saka and Smith Rowe, and, you know, we're building this culture at this club and everything like that. He's at the back end of his career, like, you know, he ain't got like 2 or 3 years to wait or whatever. It's here or now for him. And I think when he signed that contract, maybe he was promised things that hadn't materialised. And I think that, you know, he's just lost a little bit of heart. And I don't think that because he's scoring goals in Barcelona now, that should be like a stick to bash the manager or Arsenal Football Club. I really don't. I think that, you know, I'm glad by the way, I'm glad he's scoring goals. Long may it continue. Do you know why? Because he's done a fantastic job for us. It's just that this moment in time, it's in the wrong time for him in his career. I'm sure if he was 20, 21 years of age, he would be okay and doing and be happy with what's going on at Arsenal. But I think that, you know, like, if you was a young bloke, if I'm a 20, 21 year old at the moment, like a Smith Rowe or a Saka or a Marley, you must be enjoying life at the moment. Not only are you like playing for one of the best clubs you're playing regular. You know, it must be a good atmosphere and a good life at the moment, like, you know, and I think it's enjoyable. But ultimately, when you're winning games of football, that helps. But what I like and what I do like about what I'm seeing is what we just mentioned about when we conceded a goal. What was the reaction going to be like after that? It was a good reaction, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't no one sulking, like, you know. And then when we won it, I loved the reaction of it again. I loved the way that we celebrated it. And I'll tell you another thing when I talk about mentality, whether you think it's right or whether you think it's wrong, Ben White give away the ball in midfield at one stage and then trip the player over. Like, I love that. a little bit of the dark side of football.
Yeah.
We are learning that. We've always been on the end of the dark side. Now we're starting to do it. You know what I mean? Cleverly. He didn't even get pulled up for it. Like, you know what I mean? With cameras all around, but he didn't get pulled up for it. We are starting to do a little bit of the dark arts as well, like, you know. And I think that there is a culture change at Arsenal at this moment in time, and I think also what keeps a happy. Listen, I think when you go into this transfer window, if we'd have bought in 3 or 4 players, it's easy, right, to keep the 11 players happy that are playing. It's the ones that are not. Now, if you've got 5 or 6 players not even playing, it can go. Listen, I played Vets football yesterday. We had a big game. A few players were left out and all that, and they start to have a little moan up and all that. Do you know why? It's natural. It is natural. So if you've got everybody and everybody playing, then that culture goes a little bit like. So I think he's been very, very clever. What he's done is a gamble to it, but with the games that we've got there, I think it's a calculated gamble.
Dan, this I like this one that's coming here. Let's stay on Aubameyang for a minute. I don't really want to talk too much about it. I love Aubameyang. Good luck to him. I love, like Lee said, I'm glad he's scoring goals. But for me, it just shows that he wasn't interested in playing at Arsenal. If he goes over to Barcelona and he's scoring, 5 goals in 3 games, he obviously wasn't very interested in playing for Arsenal. This one comes in from Anonymous. We should have sold Aubameyang when he was worth 80 million. But when I used to say that, people would bash me. We simply are worse as a team with his style of play. Agree with that, Dan?
I don't think Aubameyang fitted into our style of play because he can't play like Lacazette. He can't hold the ball up. He can't play link-up play. And Barcelona aren't playing that way of that style, should I say. So therefore, he's free-flowing. He's got players behind him that are threading through balls. He's got Adama Traore and Ferran Torres who have got pace either side of him that can keep up with him and that can flick the ball through to him. And they don't play with a hold-up player. They don't play with a hold-up man to play him in. So Aubameyang's going to score a hatful, and that's what he's doing. I don't really understand why people are so shocked. I hear all the time, Aubameyang scored again. Well, of course he's going to. He's an elite striker. He scores everywhere he's gone. I didn't expect him to go to Barcelona and be a flop. I don't know why people did. I thought he was going to bang in loads of goals, and that's what he's doing. So I don't really understand the massive shock we hear when Aubameyang scored again. And trust me, we're going to hear it every week. Aubameyang scored again. Aubameyang scored again before it gets boring. So I didn't want Aubameyang to leave. I liked Aubameyang. I thought that he was a really good striker, but he didn't suit into the way that Arteta wanted to play, and certainly off the pitch antics weren't what Arteta wanted. And that's the way it is. We have to move on from it now, you know. And it was always going to cost us money because when he signed the Mesut Ozil contract, which is what I call it, we were stuck with him. And the only way to get rid of him was to mutually terminate that and lose out money and try and let him go somewhere he wanted to go. And so far, I don't personally feel like we can sit there and say we are missing Aubameyang. We might miss some of his goals if he's scoring the ones that he was scoring at in Barcelona, but he wasn't doing that for us because of our style of play. Now, some people might blame Arteta for that. Some people might say that this style of play is not suited to Aubameyang and that it's Arteta's fault. But if the manager is here and he is going to be here to stay, then unfortunately Aubameyang doesn't fit into that mold and he had to be moved on. I don't like it, but it's one of those things we have to move on from. I wanted Aubameyang to be a Thierry Henry or Dennis Bergkamp for Arsenal, like everybody else did. And his stats were as good as that, but it was never going to happen and he needed to move on.
Harry, I know you touched on it quickly there, but it was kind of predictable that our fan base was going to have some kind of a meltdown about Aubameyang scoring goals. And it was predictable that I've been on Twitter this afternoon and Arteta out. His tweet is trending because everyone is tweeting about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scoring goals, and it's all Arteta's fault. And that if he was still here, we'd be up there and we wouldn't have to be worrying about games in hand and all this malarkey. Predictable, Harry, predictable. He's muted himself now. Oh, one sec.
There we go. Sorry, I muted myself because I thought I was going to sneeze and I forgot to undo it. It's one of those things that you just come to expect from certain sections of the fan base, right? You know, people who are just looking for anything to have a go at. And at the end of the day, as I said before, I don't really know what other way to put it other than what you're seeing from Aubameyang at Barcelona, you weren't seeing at Arsenal. So stop comparing the two. You know, there's loads of players over the years who have gone to one club, been brilliant, gone to another and been poor. Because sometimes it's about finding a team that suits you, a manager that, you know, works on getting the best out of you and can fit you into their system in a way that is good for the team and good for yourself. And I said it to you guys ages ago, like we were tactically evolving away from Aubameyang for a while. But because of that credit he had in the bank, I don't think Mikel ever felt he could drop him. But I do think when this whole situation came to light with the disciplinary issues, the fact that we have tactically evolved away from him probably contributed to Arsenal going, well, we need to cut this guy loose now. So what I'm saying is, although the disciplinary stuff was the problem, it almost came up as the perfect excuse to actually move him on, because in the long term, this wasn't the right thing anyway.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Judges, Arteta's in for manager of the month. Surely manager of the month. Another good few weeks for him.
Yeah, I hope not, because as soon as you get the manager of the month, you lose the next game. So I don't know. Listen, he's done really, really well. We haven't had that many league games. Don't forget that. You know, we've just had a couple of. I think was it 4 weekends out of 5 we haven't had a game. But we've got some big games coming up now. Listen, he's doing all he can do at the moment. Like, you know, as Dan said earlier on, you know, his substitutions were right. I think in the past he's been a little bit cautious and gone light for light. I think he realised come that game on Thursday he needed to get the 3 points, and I think that, you know, that he got. Listen, a massive game now on Sunday against Watford. He's got to be right there for that one, and because as well as he's doing at the moment, and you know, all this Barcelona talk and all this soon as if we go get a couple of poor performances, it'll all turn around again. Like, you know, this moment in time, we're in a very, very precarious position at the moment. If we win a couple of games, it pushes us right into the top 4, even challenging for third. Lose a couple, and we're back down in 7th or 8th. So it's very, very important. I think these next 2 weeks, I think March is massively important for us. If we come out that we in the 4th place or in around that, we're in with a very, very good chance, because all the other teams are bashing each other up while we've got games that we should be able to win. And then I think in April we're going to have some real tough games. But we could be in a position where we can go there with confidence. So it's very, very important that we just keep this run going. I like the way he's going about at the moment. I still think that, you know, he comes out and he says there's still more work to be done, and there certainly is. There wasn't. It's not perfectly performances that we're doing at the moment, but we're getting the job done. I think what we're going to rely on, and I still think it's going to be, is our back four not conceding many goals. One, you know, clean sheets, and you know we've conceded a couple of goals in the last couple of games. But defensively, we look a lot better. In fact, the first time on Thursday was the first time we looked a bit vulnerable to the counter-attack. And that was, I think, down to Wolves and their play more than what anything else. I think Wolves are a very, very good side. Very, very good side. And, you know, don't forget, this is a team that's gone to Old Trafford and won without conceding. It's gone to Tottenham without conceding. So it was a tough nut to crack. What we've got to do now is just keep building on it, like, you know. And all of a sudden, which is something I've been always saying and asking about, Mikel, can he go 7, 8, 9, 10 games winning? That is still what he's got to do, and he's starting to do that now. You know, I think we've picked up, was it 8 wins out of 10? I think something like that. You know what I mean? Like we've lost to Manchester City and drawn with Burnley. You know what I mean? And if you be honest about it, we should never have lost to Manchester City. You know, so there is that consistency starting to get there, and everybody keeps telling me consistency is going to be the key. Well, we're getting that, and the reason we're getting consistency is because I think, us and West Ham have got that balance right at the back. West Ham, I think, have suffered because of injuries in the past, but now they're getting their players back. And I think that defensively, I think that is the key. You know, if we can keep that defence together, I think that we're in good shape.
Dan, another player I wanted to kind of talk about quickly, I'll come to Harry on him as well, is Cedric. How good has he been? You know, I mean, when he came in, everyone was like, oh, God, he's going to bloody make a mistake, or he's not as good as Tommy and this, that and the other. But I think he's been bloody brilliant. The games he's been playing in. What about yourself?
Yeah, he's one of those players for me that needs to play quite a bit. You know, some people, they need to be, I think you mentioned it with Martinelli earlier, that there's some players that need to be in the action all the time. And I think if you think back to last season, do you remember there was a spell where he played in the team and he actually looked quite good for sort of 5-6 games? He looked pretty decent. I think with Cedric, what you get with him in the team, I don't think he weakens us going forward in comparison to Tomiyasu. I actually think Cedric's a better crosser of the ball. I actually think he's probably technically in that sense, in an attacking sense, a little bit ahead of Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu's a much better defender. And I think that in the games we played recently, Brentford at home, Wolves away, had to do a fair amount of defending, but the game on Thursday, again, it was pretty much one-way traffic for long periods. So I think in those types of games, the level doesn't drop too much when Cedric's in the side. I still don't want him in the team moving forward. Like he's still one of the players that I look at and think we need to move on at some point. But he's one of those that when he gets a run in the team, I think he looks a lot better than when you bring him on for 15 odd minutes at the end of a game. And I think that he's benefiting from that right now. Absolutely.
Dan, what would you say about Cedric?
Yeah, very similar to Harry. I'm actually a fan of him going forward as well. I think crossing is great. I think some of the balls he is putting in, it's just a shame no one's there to put it in. But I do like him going forward. I do think we need an upgrade. I'm not going to lie. I think we can do better in that position. However, I think he deserves credit for when he comes in. And I think it's a good situation. You know, when Nuno Tavares come in, and we always really wanted Tierney back in, but we wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because of how good he's been. Kind of feeling like that with Cedric at the moment. The last few games, I think he's really impressed against Wolves, Brentford, and now have Wolves again at home. So it'll be interesting to see how Tomiyasu does come back into this side. I don't think it'll be difficult. I think he will walk straight back into it. But his injury's worrying me a bit. A lot of people saying they're a bit concerned about his injury, and it's, bit longer than expected. So be interesting to see what happens with his fitness. But it's good to know that Cedric is there, because I did say, Craig, at the start that our two key positions were Gabriel and Tomiyasu. And if we got those injured, it would mean Cedric and Holding coming in, and it's just a disaster. But I don't want Gabriel to get injured so that Holding comes in as well. But certainly Cedric's come in and done a good job. So I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Absolutely. Lee, moving off the pitch for the next topic. Obviously, today in the news, we see that the club have raised the season ticket prices by 4%. I believe is what they're talking about. Now, I see a lot of uproar about it on Twitter. Easy for me to sit here and say uproar. People moaning about it. I don't have a season ticket. I don't have to pay out that money. But I don't know how you feel about it, but the way I feel about it is when you sit back and look the last 2 years, what's been happening around the world, COVID, losses, this, that, and the other. Surely, in a business sense, it was always going to happen. Yeah,
I think it was always going to happen because that's the way it is. The resentment, I think, at the moment is that we're paying one of the highest prices in the country and in the Premier League at the moment. And realistically, we're not, I don't think, getting value for money with the players that we're getting for the money that we have to pay. I.e., if you're paying the money that Arsenal fans are paying for season tickets, you should be challenging for titles, not coming eighth and not coming and not getting into Europe and things like that. So I think it's the timing is a little bit poor. Where Arsenal have been fantastic on certain things like the Aaron Ramsdale advert, your chips and all that has been fantastic. I think they've let themselves down on this one a little bit. see where we are at the end of the season. If we're back in the Champions League and top four, do you know what? People would suffer a little bit more, Craig, and I think
great point.
A bit more endearing to it. At this moment in time, I think it's a little bit of a piss take, if I'll be honest. Can I say that? I just have. So I just think that we're not getting value for money. I don't think I am as an Arsenal fan. If I'll be really honest with what I pay, I see young, talented players, which is sort of covering up really the lack of world-class players in our team. You know what I mean? For the money that we're paying. Now, everything in the world's gone up. Now, I can tell you that now, everything. So if you go into a shop now and you know, into my dry cleaner, I've got to put everything up in there. People will complain. Human nature. They're going to complain about it. You know, if you go into Tesco's and your spuds are up 50p, people will complain. It's human nature. But ultimately, everything's going up. Beer's going up. Everything. You know. So the only thing that's not going up is wages. You know what I mean? So start doing that. But listen, that's the way it is. I just think the timing could have been better with it.
Dan, you're a season ticket holder as well. We hear, obviously, the tickets are going up 4%. Do you think there's a little bit behind it? We've heard about refurbishments at the stadium, that they're going to be, you know, they were going to work on the wrapping around the murals and stuff around it. Everything's getting upgraded. I mean, I've seen things, I've read things about big giant LED screens outside, inside the ground, the roof's getting fixed. I mean, look, we all know the money's got to come from somewhere, but then I understand when people are saying, well, surely Stan Kroenke can, you know, write off or give us the 3.8 million that ticket price increase is going to generate.
Yeah, they're businessmen, aren't they? And I expected this to happen, Craig. Season ticket prices, in fairness, haven't gone up in 8 years. So I expect it to happen in the year after a pandemic, and that's what we've got. The refurbishment announcement doesn't come as a surprise, because when you go to that ground now, it is looking 16 years old, because believe it or not, it is 16 years old. The seat numbers are poor. The numbers on the plaques are really bad. The screen hardly bloody works. The tannoy system has never been good. I could never understand what Arsene Wenger says, and with Emery and Arteta now, and I'd love to explain what they mean. We'll have a word with the boss, and all you can hear is the whole way through. It's a shamble, really. There's a lot of rumours that they're going to make the ticket system a lot easier, because at the gates it is just a nightmare to get in at the moment. I don't know about you, Lee, with my season ticket. I don't have to put it in the hole, buzz it up the top. It never ever works. It's just ridiculous. Whereas I go to away grounds, paper ticket, buzz straight through. You don't have to start doing playing Jenga with it to try and get in the bloody stadium. You know, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's not working. So we've heard that's going to be beer tents, more beer tents apparently. And to be fair, it's needed, because if you go for a beer at half time, you'll miss the second half. Because the queue's ridiculous. So we've heard all of this. So of course they're going to try and raise it up. All I'd say, I'm a little bit with Lee, is it's come at a strange time, but in the way, when is the right time for it to be happening? Because people will always moan. If they didn't let players' contracts run down, they might get a little bit of money to do the stadium up a bit more. That's all I'm saying. If Eddie and Laka weren't running their contract down, they could have sold them both in the summer. We might have been able to get a little bit of money. But there we go. Stan Kroenke's a billionaire. Stan Kroenke's a rich man, but he is also a businessman. So this is all this is, in my opinion.
He's a rich man for a reason. Harry, what's your? I mean, I read your tweets about it this morning and this afternoon, but I won't ruin it. I'll let you explain your thoughts on the season ticket price.
So, like the guys, I think it was always going to happen. As Dan mentioned, 7-8 years without the prices increasing. Was a good ride, put it that way. So this was always on the horizon. But there's a few points I think that maybe are not being talked about. So obviously the prices are going up by 4%, but we're still going to have away tickets subsidised, so that they're 26 quid per away fan. Carabao Cup games are still going to be £10 lower tier, £20 upper tier, which is good. In terms of our season tickets, and I always see these tables floating around on social media where they say this is the average season ticket price at this club, that club. Our season tickets include cup games, and most of the season tickets in the Premier League do not. So there's a disparity between those two prices as well. Tottenham don't include it. Chelsea don't include it. So when you look at their price, it might be £200 cheaper, but are they actually spending less money than us over the course of the season? The answer is no. So that's that. Inter in the chat is saying that away tickets are capped. They're not capped at £26. So Arsenal are subsidising a part of that. But the other thing is, as well, is where I'm a little bit disappointed is that if I was KSE and we'd been through this period where the whole Super League debacle came about and trust in them is still limited, I think looking at it, I think the AST predicted that it will be around about £3.8 million that Arsenal would generate from this. I might have just swallowed it and said, look, guys, I'd have announced the figures today, which were of a massive loss, over £100 million worth of loss. And then the next day I'd have followed it up with, we recognize that this is a really difficult time for everybody. As Lee said, everything's gone up. Energy bills have gone up. Petrol's gone up. As Lee put, beer's gone up as well. I would have taken the opportunity and said, we're going to swallow this for you guys this season to say thank you for your loyal support during the pandemic. And then maybe put them up next season. And if you put it up next season, then people will go, well, we had 7-8 years of a price freeze and then they took it on for us last season. So I think they've missed a massive opportunity to do a good bit of PR there that really in the grand scheme of things wouldn't have cost them an awful lot of money. But the other thing that could be quite interesting, and I only thought of this because I used to be in banking, is that we know that Arsenal have restructured a lot of their debt. We know that they've taken on different loans, different deals to make those payments more manageable. It could be a condition of that restructure that they have to bring in X amount of revenue, and this might be the way to do it. Because, you know, when you agree a payment plan, when you agree to, you know, lower the amount that you're paying or you take on a different deal, sometimes there are conditions to that. And I just wonder if this rise in ticket prices was a stipulation of the restructure, which overall helps the club. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But that's not something that's unheard of. And I wonder if that's a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of uproar about it, but you all make great points on about the timing of it. I must admit, I do agree with Lee. The time, you know, finish fourth, get in the Champions League. Oh, okay, we're back in the Champions League. You want the better players. We've got, you know, we've got to put the ticket prices up. But yeah, I think for the match going fan, it's a definite kick in the nuts. But like I said, it's okay for me to sit here and say, oh, what you're all getting the ump for? You know, I haven't got a season ticket.
It is a kick in the nuts. But like Lee said, you go and put petrol in your car now, you're looking at like £1.50 a litre.
Yeah.
Like my electricity bill at home has doubled probably since December. Like everything's gone up. So to think that this was going to be unaffected is, I think, a little bit naive.
Yeah. I get that. So let's get some of these questions in here. There's a few questions. This one's for Potsy from Tubbs MD. A question for Potsy. If Arsenal finish fifth, but clearly a direction can be seen from the team, would you consider backing Arteta then?
I'll back Mikel Arteta if he gets us Champions League football, and fifth place won't do that. So I think a lot of people say that it's Manchester United get fourth, then it's all okay. I disagree with that personally. I look at Manchester United and think they're terrible. So I wouldn't be okay with that. So I will back Mikel Arteta if he brings us Champions League football, because that's something that Emery and Wenger couldn't do. I like the way that he's done. I like some of the things he's done, and I've given him positives. In fact, I've given him quite a few positives, to be honest. In overall, I've just had a lot of concerns. The positives I've given him is his recruitment with Arteta. With Edu. I think they've done really very well with what they've brought in. I like what they've done in terms of them removing some of the players. And I think defensively we're a lot better. And I like the mentality shift because of those things. I just still have some concerns on the pitch. And it's fine beating Wolves and Brentford. And, you know, we've seen this before, haven't we? I just want to see now us get until May with some really good performances and consistencies, because throughout last season and this season, there's always been an up and down and up and down. Oh, he's brilliant. Now he's no good. Oh, he needs to stay. No, we need to sack him. And I get frustrated with that. Like, I just want to see something consistently. And I think it's very hard for us to do that when the manager wins 3 games and then loses a couple and then wins another 3. So in the last 9 games, we've won 7, dropped points to Burnley, which was disappointing, lost to Manchester City, I can kind of accept that, not the Burnley one, but I can kind of accept that there's a little bit of consistency there. I just want to see him try to kind of keep that going. And as I said to Lee and to Sophie and Kevin, my humble pie is in the oven and it will be ready in May to eat. And I hope it tastes of cherries with ice cream or custard. Let's just hope that's the case.
Me and Harry will be ready with our thoughts.
Can I ask Dan a question? So, if Arsenal finish 5th by a point, say we miss out on the Champions League by a point, yeah. Would you then say that Mikel Arteta should be sacked and that we should start all over again? And you talk about the mentality and the attitude shift. That's from him. Mm-hmm. So are you saying that if we missed out by a point, you'd want it all ripped out and for us to start all over again?
So I don't think we're ripping out anything by removing the manager, because we're not ripping apart the team, are we? That mentality doesn't.
Recruitment, it's his tactics, it's his mentality.
So you think all of those players are then going to down tools once Arteta goes, and they're all going to want to leave? I don't.
No, but I don't know that. I don't know that someone else, and I'm not saying he's the best manager in the world, but I don't know that someone else would have that same mindset that has seemed to get these young players up to a better level quickly. Like, for example, a Conte. Let's look at Conte. He's gone to Tottenham and he's done nothing but moan about the fact that they're looking at young players and that they've not got players that are ready-made to win. We're not going to get that at Arsenal in terms of a whole team, because we're not going to put that sort of money at it. So someone else coming in, I just think it's 2 steps back rather than.
Let me ask you this then. So if we come 5th and we're a point and we keep Mikel Arteta, he can't get Champions League. He's not going to get it the next season with European football.
Why
so
not?
what? Because we can't do it without Europe playing 1 game a week, Harry. So he's then got another competition, European football, to get in as well as that. So we've now got to have a squad again to build in the summer to then go to compete with a manager that hasn't been able to get us into the Champions League for 3 years, and then try and get into the Champions League, unless we're going for the Europa League again next season and everyone goes down that route. Because I just feel like we're now 3 years down the line and we're still not closer to Champions League football. This is staring us in the face. There's an opportunity here that I don't think is massively difficult to get into the top 4. Now, if Manchester United were doing what we thought Manchester United were going to be doing with the Varans and the Ronaldos and the Brunos, that we thought, oh my God, they're not catchable because they're just too good, then I'll be looking at this going, do you know what? Maybe 5th is about as good as we can get. But tell me a team that is definitely going to get that 4th place ahead of Arsenal. There ain't one, because all of them are rubbish. So I think this is the opportunity to do it right now.
According to you, a month ago, this manager was rubbish and these players are rubbish, and they have been rubbish.
I never said the players are rubbish. I never said the players are rubbish. I said the manager was rubbish, granted. But I think these players are definitely, in terms of 11, better than Manchester United, Tottenham, West Ham and Wolves. And therefore, a manager should be able to come in and get them ahead of Manchester United, Tottenham, West Ham and Wolves. And if they don't do that, I don't think it's failure. I'm with Thierry Henry. I think it is failure. If we don't get into the top 4, this right now, I think it's a failure, and I think he deserves to go. He's not going to. We can come 15th and he will still be here because the board and the players and the fans and everybody loves him. So we're stuck with him, whatever. But if we do get 5th, then I think that is a failure of a season, personally. When you're playing one game a week and you spend that much money.
I've got to agree with Dan there that top 4 for me, this is a massive opportunity for any manager. If their team was in the position that we are now, with the games coming up, with the games in hand that we've got, and the teams that we've got to play, this is a massive opportunity. And I have to agree with Dan that I believe that if he doesn't take us into the top 4, it's a massive chance missed. But then on the flip side of things, I'm with Harry. Lee, I'll bring you in. On the flip side of things, I'm with Harry as well. I think it would be awfully harsh to sack him if he missed it by a point.
It's a difficult one. Because I think if Arsenal don't get 4th this season, I think it's going to be a lot tougher next season with Newcastle coming through without any European football. When Arsenal have European football, if we come 5th, we'll be in the Europa League, and Newcastle will be coming into it. Tottenham, if Conte stays, will, and the way he's sold, might get some of what he wants. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I personally think if we lose it by a point, I don't necessarily think it's down to Arteta. It could be luck. Could be down to poor decision or whatever. I don't know. Listen, he's got a massive, massive opportunity to do it. He had a massive, massive opportunity to get Champions League football via Europa League last season. He failed. Don't fail this time, Mikel. That's my thing. Make sure you get through that door this time, because you cannot keep failing and going, oh, it's unlucky. This is unlucky. Oh, we should have done this and should have done that. We need to get Champions League football from a club's point of view. You know what I mean? I'm not really that fussed whether we get it or not really. You know what I mean? I'm happy if we just winning games, and if it gets us above Spurs and Man United and we get it, then fantastic. But it ain't the be and end all if we're going to get into the Champions League and then we're not going to spend money. What we've got to do is get to the Champions League and then really show the ambition that we're going to go on again. It's no good all right, that's it, target done. Because if that's the case, I'm worried. You know what I mean? So I think there's certainly a lot of things to do. I think these next 6 months are massive for Arsenal Football Club, for the manager, for fans, for everybody, because I do think fans are starting to turn a little bit. I do. I genuinely do. I think that there's people like Harry and Kevin have been very, very vocal to Mikel for all this time, and now they're all, they've got their ovens on. As simple as that. They're baking, aren't they? And there's a few people like Dan and myself ready to sit around the table and eat some humble pie. And do you know what? Great. I'll have custard with it. Thank you very much, because that's what I want.
Yeah. You can have cold custard.
So yeah, you can have cold custard. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I don't think I've been as brittle as Dan. So I think I'm entitled to a bit of warm custard. I'm just saying.
All right, but not hot. Custard. Not hot though. Just warm.
Yeah. Like,
the thing is, though, Lee, right? The thing is, everything you say is completely correct. Everyone doesn't mind eating humble pie. I've had it over the years. I've slagged off players and then they go and score goals. But the main thing around it is that we all sat here at the beginning of the season and no one thought we'd be where we are now. Let's admit that. None of us thought top four was going to be on. We were down in doom and gloom. Oh, this is going to be a horrible season and this, that, and the other. But we are where we are. Shouldn't we just, at the moment, take a step back and just enjoy the roller coaster and see what happens? Exactly
what I'm doing. I'm not really looking into Mikel or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'm actually looking at game by game and seeing where we're going. Listen, when Dan says he don't like Mikel, it's nothing personal. He just wants Arsenal to win games. I get that. I had the good fortune of meeting him a couple of weeks.
Everyone gets that. Yeah.
He's a class act. He's a class act. You know what I mean? What I see that day. I'm not saying that he's not. I just think at the end of the day, we've got some good young players coming through. This moment in time, let's enjoy it. Listen. Let's be honest. If that was our performance against Man United, we played like Man United did the other day, we'd be all in a meltdown. You know what I mean? That's how it is at this moment in time. Are they calling for the manager's head? No, because they ain't got a manager. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? But they're still not getting the results that you expect Man United to get. Listen, I expected Arsenal to come fifth this season. That's what I'm going to be really honest. I would have accepted Arsenal to come fifth. I think Dan would have as well. But what the Man United have shot themselves in the foot with what they've done with buying Ronaldo and the scattergun of transfers, and then not going and getting their manager. They've left the door open, right? And there's now an opportunity to go through it. Now go through it. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, realistically, I still say Man United should still get with the players that they've got. Look at the players at their disposal. You know what I mean? In their squad at this moment in time, they should still get fourth place, realistically. You know what I mean? But there's a chance for us to go through the door and go through it. What will give me the is if West Ham come above us, Tottenham come above us, and Wolves, not so much Wolves, I'm going to say that lot, but those sort of teams, when they've got FA Cup, Europe that they've had, we haven't had that, and they come above us. That would give me the I would say, right, questions need to be asked. But ultimately, at this moment in time, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm telling you this now. I'm looking at Chelsea. I'm after Chelsea.
Yeah,
I'm after Chelsea. We're 2 points behind them if we win our games in hand. Like this, see where it takes us. And I'm just, I'm enjoying Arsenal winning games of football, guys. You know what I mean?
And that's the same as me. That's the same. I think some people think that if you question the club, you want them to lose so that you can be proven right.
No,
and you
we
look
know
wicked.
that's not the case.
And I don't
no,
get
but we
that.
know.
Man.
I think
don't understand
the
that.
problem there is. I think the problem there is like it's not about when people criticize the club. You can tell that people want them to lose. It's the way you do it. It's the way you bring. It's the way you bring yourself across. No one. I don't know anyone I've heard that says, "Oh, Lee and Dan don't like Mikel Arteta." Let's go back 6 months ago when we were down in the dumps, right? No one has said, "Oh, Lee and Dan want Arsenal to lose." Do you know?
No.
It's the way you put yourself across. I've never said that you want Arsenal to lose. That Lee ever wants Arsenal to lose. I know that you don't want Arsenal to lose. But I think when we do lose, though, it's the reaction of some of the reaction is so over the top. It's amazing.
What I don't like, and look, listen, everybody's free to criticise and do what they want, right? You know what I mean about Mikel and all that. But what I don't like is that Arsenal fans will praise Tottenham, right, to get at Mikel Arteta, to have a go at Mikel. Or something like that, or they'll pray, like at this moment in time, we've just had a great win, and everybody wants to put a sticker and use Aubameyang as a stick, like you know what I mean, like which I think.
Stephen, get on this one. I know you were at the game, but while the Wolves game's going on, people are tweeting videos of Aubameyang scoring goals. Oh look, we're 1-0 down to Wolves. Aubameyang was still there.
See, that is madness. That is madness.
That's mad. You know what I mean? I don't think that. You know what I mean? Why would you want to praise Spurs to get at Mikel, like you know what I mean, or praise whatever, like you know? And I at the end of the day, I don't. Some of these fans, I don't get why they want because they've gone so far down the road of criticising managers. They feel that they can't praise.
That is what it is. That's what it is. They've gone too far the other way, so now they can't come back and praise it. And I think personally, from my point of view, it's not that I don't like Mikel Arteta. A lot of people think I hate the guy. Man, I'm sure if I met him, he'd be an absolutely lovely gentleman. I'm sure we'd get on great. I liked him as a player, and I like him as a man. But I didn't think he was ready for the job, and he's proving at certain games that he's not ready. And that's why I get frustrated, because I want him to prove me wrong, to say, listen, mate, I'm a bloody good manager. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to take Arsenal to a title. I'm going to win a Champions League and shut you right up. Of course I want that. I'm an Arsenal fan, right? But it doesn't mean that because I'm questioning perhaps the losses against teams like Everton away and the draws at Burnley and going to Old Trafford and getting battered by Liverpool, losing to Villarreal against Emery, losing in FA Cups over the last 2 years and losing to Forest and getting dumped out of competitions. That just, unfortunately, keeps providing me more evidence to say that maybe things aren't as rosy as people like to see. Now, what I want, before you come in, Harry, because I know you're trying to get in, what I want is for me not to do that now. So we get to the end of May and I go, but no. So every single time this season, first 3 games, I was just fed up. Then we started to win a few. Don't go and get battered to Liverpool. Don't lose to Man United and don't lose to Everton. We lose all 3 of them. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Prove me wrong. Don't go out the cups. You've just beaten Leeds and Norwich. We're looking good. We go out of both competitions. Buy somebody in January. Come on, we need some players. Nothing happens. And you just get down in the dumps again. Now we're starting to creep up and I'm going, go on, keep going. Keep going. Because then I will eat that humble pie. If we keep getting the Champions League, I'm all in. But because that's what Wenger and Emery couldn't do. And that's what we sacked them both for not doing. So if he does it, we can't sack him. So let's keep doing that. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I just don't want these 3 or 4 losses against the Watford, Palace and Brighton to happen. Because then we're going to go back down again and everyone's going to want him out. And I don't like that, Craig. I don't like this toxic, let's get him out, let's get him out. I hate all that with Arsenal. I love it when Arsenal are winning. So that's all I've got to say on it.
I think there is a danger though. Like, so I get what you're saying about the doors being left open, and it has, and there's a glorious opportunity there for Arsenal to sneak in and get top 4, in my opinion, ahead of schedule. Because I didn't expect it at the start of the season. Okay, I thought that we needed to get back into Europe and we needed to build again, and that was the next stage. The worry I have though is that this opportunity might have come a little bit too early, in that we are not ready for it, in that some of these young players might not be able to maintain the level of consistency between now and the end of the season without dropping more points. It's one of the things I always say is, yes, over the course of the season, your objectives should be fluid, in that you look around at what's going on and you say, well, now there's an opportunity to do this and there's an opportunity to do that. But you should always refer back to what you said at the start of the season. You know why? Because at that point, there was no bias. At that point, at the start of the season, you were looking at Arsenal as what you thought Arsenal were good enough to achieve. You weren't considering Man United falling off the wagon. You weren't considering Tottenham sacking a manager and bringing in another one. All of those things have happened, but they've happened since, and they don't necessarily make a difference to our level and our progression. So I think that you shouldn't forget what the prediction was at the start of the season, because that's the most truest prediction, in my opinion, with regards to where you think Arsenal as a football club and team are. And that's where I'm at on it. I think if the other thing as well, I think we put too much responsibility on the manager. I think the manager's job is to set the team up right and to create the right environment. But if someone misses a chance that costs you finishing in the top four, for example, if we missed out by a point because Lacazette missed a sitter, that doesn't mean that what Arteta's done is wrong. It means that that opportunity presented itself and we didn't take it. And throughout life, in anything, you will get opportunities. If you took every single opportunity that came your way, you'd probably be a billionaire. But people miss opportunities. It's part of life. And I don't want to get hung up on going, well, this opportunity, we have to 100% take it. Otherwise, everything we've done in the last 3 years is all bullshit and it's all wrong. Because it isn't as black and white as that. That's how I see it.
No, I think that's a fantastic point. But you know what I mean? Like when the opportunity comes to you, you don't, like think, oh, well, this is, we got a chance of winning the league. It's a bit too early. You take it, and that's where I think that. Look, listen, you can't. Sometimes you get opportunities given to you, like, and for whatever reason, it's there. The reason that Arsenal are there is because let's be honest, Harry, and I expected us to come fifth, right? So realistically, if Man United are exploding and doing what they're doing, there's the opportunity, you know what I mean? So realistically, we're just taking over from them, you know what I mean? Like, they've left the door open and we're going to go for it. What would be a joke for us is something like Wolves went and got it, or Tottenham and got that. That would be when we say, when Dan says about Man United, yeah, Man United are poor at the moment, but they can turn it around and go on a run at any stage. Why? Because they've got players of ability. You know what I mean? And I don't care what anybody says. Let's get this right. Would Pep take Watford to the title? If he went into Watford now, would he take them to the title? Why not?
They've got the money.
The team, just like Conte isn't going to take Spurs to fourth.
Yeah, he haven't got the players. You need players. And at this moment in time, all of a sudden, Arsenal players have improved. I don't care what anybody says. He has got players in. He's got a right back that's improved on Bellerin. He's got central defenders that have improved on Holding. He's got forward players now like Saka and Smith. He's got players at his ability. And that is why he's doing better. And I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? Yes, there's tactics and everything there. But the reason that Arsenal are doing well at the moment is because he's got better players. And if he gets them managed right and everything like that, we have got a chance. But there is a chance that we won't get it. And I don't think at this moment in time, listen, if we go and lose to Watford, right, that will be a damaging thing for our top four. But if we go and beat Watford, it doesn't mean to say that we're still going to go on and get Champions League. We just got to continue to keep trying to win those games that we're expected to win. Keep winning them. Like, Arsene Wenger done a fantastic job getting top four, because do you know what? He beat the teams that he was expected to beat most of the time. You know what I mean? If you go back in his last few years, he never beat any of the teams in the top four, but he'd always beat those teams around him, or down below and everything. And that is the key now to Mikel's success. And at the end of it, if we get top four, right, Dan will turn around and say, well done and all that. There will be people that will turn around and go, well, we only got top four because Man United are crap.
Yeah.
That is life.
Yeah.
That is life.
Lads, I'll finish it on this one. Cliff, thank you very much for the kind donation, mate. Thank you very much indeed. He says his pie is still in the freezer. He's nowhere near as optimistic, but would absolutely love to defrost it.
And that's the good thing at the end. See, Gorsey wants to. Likewise, Cliff wants to eat it as well. There we go. We all want to eat it.
Absolutely.
Cliff, can you cook that one from frozen, or do you need to?
Well, he's going to have cold custard then, and so that's as simple as that. He ain't having custard.
There's people who would like to eat it, and I'm sure there's people who'd like to feed it. Because if we do finish in the top 4, I can't wait to feed Dan and Lee. Thanks to everyone in the chat for staying with us for so long. Thanks very much indeed for staying with us for the hour. It's much appreciated. If you could like the video, retweet the video. You know the score. You watch enough YouTube channels to know what to be doing. And if you're listening on audio, thank you very much indeed for your support on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Acast. And oh my God, there's so many of them. I couldn't name them all. Lee Judges, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed that. Always enjoy it. Good hours, sensible discussions, and I really enjoy it.
I think so too. I think it's quite sensible. Dan, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, boys. Always good to have a bit of a laugh and re-educate Harry Simeu. So I'm happy now, mate, and I'll sleep well tonight. So that's all good.
Just while we're here, anything to promote on Lee Judges TV?
We've got some bits and pieces coming up, Lee, ain't we, mate? I might as well let you do that bit, buddy.
Well, no, go on. You go. You go. I've got to give this. Dan is the organizer. He's the man that sets it.
Look at that. He's giving me a lot of credit here.
I volley. Oh,
yeah, I cross him in, and I cross him into him, and he just heads him in and volleys him in.
They're always champions, but they all count.
Yeah, we normally put out previews on the Thursday night show with Kevin Campbell, doing a chatting with Campbell. So we'll do that again for the Watford game, which could be a very tough game. A lot of people are saying this could be an easy 3 points, but I don't think it will be. They've just got a great point against Manchester United. So come and join us over on Lee Judges TV, with myself and Lee and Kevin on Thursday night to do the preview show for that. And we normally do a Sunday night show as well, and bits and pieces over the weekend. So come and like and subscribe if you can. That would be amazing. Cheers.
Great
Thanks,
stuff.
Craig.
No problem, mate. Harry, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Good to be back.
What have we got coming up on Chronicles of a Gooner?
Daily stuff on Chronicles of a Gooner at the moment, at least Monday to Friday anyway. There's daily stuff, sometimes long, sometimes short. But yeah, check it out. Thank you, man.
Brilliant. No problem at all. We'll have shows coming for you. We'll have tomorrow, 4 men and a mic, but there might be only 3 men and a mic. I think there is only 3 men and a mic. Amanda will be with you on Friday for a preview show. And we've got a couple of good guests lined up for the next few weeks. So for Amanda's show. So keep.
Who's coming on? Who's coming on? Who's coming on?
I can't tell you at the moment. But keep tabs on Twitter, and we'll let you know as and when we can let you know who's coming on. Thank you very much again. Thanks for listening. Until we see you again, let's hope for another 3 points. Take care of yourselves and each other. Up the Arsenal.